Hi, everybody. Welcome. Oh, crap. It seems like such a simple thing to do, but I get caught up in all sorts of things like Wi-Fi passwords and ordering film leader and all the stuff, the daily stuff, the little grind that's associated with having a large collection of old 16 millimeter films and actively trying to give access to that material. There's all sorts of stuff. You have to know technology that was 100 years ago and current technology like Google Fiber, all that stuff. Anyways, I'm Skip Alzheimer and I'm shaking hands with danger. And this is the AV Geeks 16 millimeter lunch, where we watch old 16 millimeter films and comment on them. That last film was from the Center for Home Movies. They get occasionally collections of old 16 millimeter home movies, and I've scanned them for them. I used to be on the board of the Center for Home Movies, and a big fan of them and what they do. And so that was some miscellaneous footage, but definitely at the end that was some either Florida or Cuba, probably Florida, because I've seen other examples of resort hotels where there is a high diver who does kind of a show. So that's what that was. Yeah. So let's learn about making a stained glass window. Enjoy.
Unlike most other forms of art, the stained glass window belongs wholly to the Christian era. It's a direct outgrowth of the lattice window, the method of filling a window space when glass was made only in very small pieces. With later advances in glassmaking and in glass painting and firing, the art of the stained glass window developed to the high standards so closely associated with the flowering of Gothic architecture in the Middle Ages. In those days, the technique differed little from the methods now in use. A successful design demands a thorough knowledge of stained glass window technique. Forms are shaped with due regard to the natural character and cutting possibilities of the glass. The lines of lead are placed as an integral part of the design, as well as to join the pieces of glass. The color of a stained glass window is obtained by the color of the glass itself. The sample glass brack is, in effect, the artist's palette, providing a remarkably wide range of glowing colors from dark to light. In his choice of color, the artist must visualize the effect that light shining through the glass will give to the finished window. The most effective color pattern gives full expression to the character and luminosity of the glass. Here, the artist's subject, appropriately enough, is the making of a stained glass window, the window design being divided into 4 sections, each section depicting a different step in the process. For windows of large size, the original design is made in reduced scale. An enlarged outline drawing is then made actual window size. Here, the original design is actual window size, and the outline is simply made by tracing. Each form is outlined, indicating each separate piece of glass and giving the complete drawing much the appearance of a jigsaw puzzle. Repeating the tracing process provides two identical outline drawings, one called the cartoon, and the other known as the cut line. The cartoon is used as a pattern in assembling the separate pieces of glass and in leading the window. Lead lines are therefore drawn parallel with each form in the design, the lines being spaced according to the desired width of the lead. The cut line, as the name implies, is a glass cutting pattern. As the various sections of the cut line will be separated to make individual patterns, they are numbered to avoid later confusion in assembling. The cut line is cut into separate sections with three-bladed scissors, which remove a thin strip of paper as they cut. This thin strip represents the space required between pieces of glass for the core of the lead. From the cut line sections conveniently assembled on the workbench, a section is selected for use as a glass cutting pattern. Before cutting, the glass is checked for color with the original design. Diamond cutters are sometimes used, but the glazier's wheel, as used here, is more often preferred. Much of the glass used for stained glass windows has a ripple or otherwise irregular finish on one surface and is comparatively flat on the other side. Cutting is done on the smoother surface, which is less difficult to cut. Antique or pot metal glass, which is most in use, is colored in its molten state by the addition of metallic oxides. Some bright colors, such as the red we see here, cannot be made sufficiently light and transparent by the pot metal method. For these colors, a flashed glass is used, pure and colorless on one side, the other side coated with a thin layer of colored glass. Glass painting follows on an easel illuminated from the rear to give a working light comparable to the effect of the finished window. Lead lines are first painted in to exclude disturbing light spaces between the pieces of glass. Also, so the finished window will be better visualized as painting proceeds. Working on a vertical easel requires that each piece of glass be fastened in place, temporarily but securely. The wax is removed before the glass is fired. In placing the glass on the painting easel, a narrow space is left between sections. This space roughly corresponds to that required for the core of the lead. The pigment a powdered oxide, is first painted on and then fired into the glass. Colors are limited, ranging from a reddish brown to black. Thorough mixing of the pigment is necessary to avoid blistering of the paint when it's fired. Gum arabic makes the paint stick to the glass. Painting proceeds with the glass in place on the easel. As in most other art mediums, methods may vary somewhat to suit the aims of the individual. One method is to first paint in the main lines of the design, or as in this case, a brown matte coat is first applied uniformly over the entire surface. The paint quickly dries and becomes completely opaque. It's much like a thick dust, which gives name to the dusting process, whereby the paint is lightly removed to provide highlights where desired. With preliminary highlighting completed, the glass is ready for first firing. A glass firing kiln contains two separate compartments. The upper one is the annealing or toughening chamber. Below is the oven itself, otherwise known as the firing chamber. The heat is brought up slowly. Firing heat is usually not reached for an hour or more. Meanwhile, which is heated by fumes from the firing chamber directly below. As the heat increases in the firing chamber, it also increases in the annealing chamber, but with less intensity. In this slowly increasing heat, the glass gradually toughens. Finally, the glass is sufficiently heated to withstand the intense heat of the firing chamber itself without danger of cracking. Temperature alone will not accurately indicate when the glass has reached the firing point, which varies according to the type of glass and the ingredients in the paint. Experience and close observation are necessary at this critical stage. With the firing point actually reached, the glass is practically at surface melting heat. Firing continues a few minutes until paint and glass are firmly fused together. Here again, experience is needed to determine when the glass has received just the right amount of firing. The tray is then returned to the annealing chamber, which becomes a cooling chamber when the heat is turned off. The glass must be cooled slowly to avoid cracking. Not for several hours can it be safely removed from the kiln. In fusing with the glass, the paint has lightened in color, adding subtle gradations of tone to the natural quality of the glass. With the fired glass back in place on the easel, the pigment is mixed for further painting, this time with a black oxide.
So that happens sometimes with these films. They're missing the beginning, they're missing the ending. You know, it just kind of, it's what happens. The films themselves are, some people talk about them being living things in that they breathe vinegar and they have lives where they get scarred and they get abused, they get treated well, you know. That's the thing about media, physical media, is that it has its own type of thing. It's like a record. You know, you get a record and you're like, ooh, I have this record. And then you realize, wow, they played this one song all the time and the rest of it has never been played. And the one that's been played the whole time is now almost unlistenable. All right, what do we got? Some more films. I have a film set up on the Telecine, which is a device that we use to transfer films. And this one is... It's Black Hawk film, which means that it was taken from another source, and then they converted it for 16 or 8 millimeter usage. This is How to Take a Vacation. And this would have been a short subject that would have been shown at theaters before the main feature. Enjoy.
Here's a man who's always taken his vacation with his wife. This year, he's been talking over with his cronies the idea of getting off by themselves for a couple of weeks in the woods. The question is how to broach the subject to the little woman without hurting her feelings. Well, there's no sense in beating about the bush, so here goes. Had lunch with Bill Weemus today.
Well, you do that every day, don't you?
No, not every day. He goes to Chicago every Thursday. Bill was telling me about some place he's going with Eddie Franchon to. Up in the woods. So, well, a cabin on the lake. They do it more for their health than for anything else.
Are they sick?
No, they're not sick, but they're tired. Bill suggested that I sort of go along, too, with him. Can you imagine?
Yes, I can imagine that perfectly.
Oh, it's out of the question. Leave you here alone?
What's so terrible about that? I think you need a vacation. Without me. It would do you good.
Well, might do me good, but Well, I'll see how things are down at the office tomorrow.
This is all for just you three?
Oh, no, this is my stuff.
Are you sure you have everything?
Yes.
Well, I don't see why you boys shouldn't be very, very happy.
That's our plan. Of course, it won't be the same as if you were along.
I'm sure it won't. Oh, Joe, you're not going to wear your shoes?
Oh, my shoes. I'm on in the car. A little cabin in the woods, a couple of good companions with an Indian guide who knows the mysteries of nature. There my heart is, there is the life. Boy, this is okay, huh?
Well, it's what I mean. Rain. Well, rain or no rain, we can eat, can't we?
A man is never really eaten until he's eaten in the woods. The very idea of food cooked in an open fireplace starts the old digestive juices flowing and makes the weak, effeminate dishes of the city, the soufflés, the chicken patties, the namby-pamby pastries and ices, seem like hospital food. A man owes it to his stomach every once in a while to feed it the way nature intended it to be fed, from nature's own storehouse. Something in the air up here makes a guy hungry, huh?
Wow. I'm so hungry I could eat a horse.
No horse. Beans. Don't you know the country's full of men that would give their eye teeth to be eating what we're eating here tonight?
Say, how about a little poker? Say, that's an idea.
Okay with me. That's right. There we are. playing just three of us. Want to play, Chief? Okay, I'll explain the whole thing to you. These are called chips. Blue, 10 cents. White, 1 cent. Red's 5 cents. Get it? Now, everyone gets 5 cards. The idea is to get pairs, 3 of a kind, it's amazing how quickly time passes when you're really having fun.
25, 50, 75. That makes us even.
$11 from me, $5.60 from you.
That ain't wampum.
Now, if these men were at home, what would they be doing? They would be bored. That's what they'd be. The confinement of life in the city is not meant for a man year in and year out. In an apartment, he becomes like a caged animal. I gotta make a phone call in the village. Told this fellow I'd call him and should have done it before. He's waiting around, I guess. Be right back.
Hello. Yes. Oh, hello, Joe.
Oh, I just thought I'd call up and see how things are going on down there. You doing all right?
Yes, fine.
You are, huh? Everything okay? Well, that's fine.
Well, I can just imagine how nice and snug you all are in that little cabin.
That's right, all right, yeah. I got a hunch I'm going to have the best night's sleep I've had in years. Oh, I got to hang up now. My time is up. Well, goodbye, my dear. During the night, nature becomes her most majestic self, full of mystery and dignity. Hey! Hey! Sleep, sleep, that knits up the raveled sleeve of care. And after sleep, the dawn, a thrilling sight for jaded city eyes. Well, it's the clearing up shower, I guess.
Well, what do we got to lose? It's mighty cozy in here.
This is all very pretty, but is it nature? No, 1,000 times no. This is artificial food, food for women. A man needs nobler fare.
Well, fellas, come get it. Remember, you can't get beans like these back home.
Yes, that's right.
What's the matter? Aren't you hungry?
Oh, I don't want to overeat. I haven't had any exercise this trip yet. Your real backwoodsman never tires of contact with the tools of his livelihood. The rod is his companion. The line is the cord which binds him to his love. So long as he has them near him, he is sufficient. To the true fisherman, the implements of fishing are a source of constant delight.
Hey, look. Sun's out. I knew that rain would stop. Oh, boy. Oh, well, fish. Here we go. Hey, I knew it was the last one. Here we go.
Hey, wait a minute.
weeks in the open should do Joe worlds of good. And 3 men together, you know. It makes it nice. Oh, pardon me.
Well, I'll be running along now.
Oh, I'm so glad you called. Joe!
Well, goodbye.
Joe, what's the matter?
Oh, nothing much, Ma. I got a call from the office.
Oh, Joe, I'm so sorry. Does that mean you don't get your vacation?
Oh, no. I got 10, 11 days yet.
I had thought Summer was going down to the beach tomorrow.
Well, I'll have to get my white flannels cleaned.
The call of the wild is still strong within him, but he'll go along to the beach and like it.
Yeah, so that would, like I said, that's a short that would have been shown. And then I guess it got licensed by National Television Telefilm Associates, who license a lot of stuff for television. Stuff would be shown in between things, etc. Between shows, late at night. Alright. This next film was kind of cool, although it is scratched up. It's still pretty neat. It's called 3rd Avenue L. Enjoy. So, purportedly, this is different vignettes shot on that subway line, which doesn't exist anymore, and it was shot before the subway line closed. I don't think there's any elevated trains in Midtown anymore. There was one on the west side, which was turned into the High Line, which is actually a really cool park, which is over the streets. It's pretty neat. So yeah. Let's learn about the Goof. The Goof.
Cute, Ted. I hate to give him up. We can't keep them all. If we did, we'd have hamsters running out the bedroom. I guess so. You know, with this one right here, some scientists might discover a new cure for something. You might be historic someday. Can't ever tell. Do you think they mind? The hamsters, I mean. They are sort of like us. I mean being twins. Except they're quintuplets. I'd feel awful if I had to go away somewhere, all by myself. Do you think they mind? No. Hamsters are just hamsters, aren't you? Hello, Mr. Brown. How would you like to come out for a little bit of fresh air? Oh, Mr. Brown here must be a great-great-granddaddy. He's had dozens and dozens of children. Do you suppose he ever wonders how his family's getting along in the world? Of course not. But how do you know that animals don't feel things like we do? They're not as smart, for one thing. Besides, don't you know your biology? Humans are the highest form of life. You mean some humans are? Well, naturally, I don't include people like Henry Robinson. Goof is in a class by himself. Sometimes I wish Goof were in a world by himself. He practically is. Nobody wants to be around him. I've noticed him hanging around Mr. Claiborne lately. I saw them in the soda shop yesterday. Poor Mr. Claiborne. Why doesn't he just up and tell Goof to get lost? Because he's nice to everybody. In fact, he's the nicest man I know, except for Daddy. Yeah, our ball team sure has been different since he started to coach us. We're going to win that championship this afternoon.
Hi, kids.
Hello, Mr. Claiborne.
How are my twin zookeepers today? Oh, and how are you, Mr. Brown? Any new additions today?
No, but Mrs. McGillicuddy's going to have some little ones in a couple of weeks.
Oh, how many do you and Ted have now?
13, counting the babies. We're taking 5 to the lab next Saturday.
You get pretty attached to them, I imagine, huh?
Pam sometimes acts like we were giving away a member of the family. Mr. Brown is a member of the family. He was the first one we ever owned.
Well, you have a very handsome family. What I came by for is to tell you that Tony Mitchell can't play today. He's in bed with the flu.
Tony's sick? For the playoffs? But he's the best batter we have. The Tigers won't stand a chance with him out.
Oh, sure they will, Pam. We've still got 8 good men on the team, right, Ted? And this will give Henry a little experience.
Henry? You mean Goof? You aren't going to let him play, are you?
Well, Henry will never improve without practice.
But Mr. Claiborne, you know how he fouls everything up? Besides, this isn't practice.
Well, Sonny's got a bad knee. Ed is at camp. Jim's working. That's all the subs we have. Oh, Henry can't do much harm in right field.
You don't know Goof. He can cause trouble by just breathing. The other fellas won't like it.
Well, you're the captain, Ted.
I know, but he can make us lose the championship. It's bad enough having him live next door to us. He's always in our hair as it is, but to have him on the team...
Now, kids, I know how much you want to win, but now don't be defeated before the game even starts.
Oh, Goof couldn't catch a blind caterpillar. And he's such a pest. Wouldn't we be better off playing with one short?
Now, this will be the greatest thing that ever happened to Henry. Oh, anyway, you know the rules. If we don't have a full team, we have to forfeit. And, Ted, Henry might just surprise you if you give him a chance.
Can't you just see how Goof will act? He must have been out of town when the brains were handed out. I wish you were out of town right now. I got it. Hi, Twin Uglies. Hey, Ted, you guys got a real break today. Mr. Claiborne said I'm gonna play. Yeah, Goof. A real break for the other team. Are you with me? Is everybody with me? Go team, rah, rah, rah! Why don't you let me pitch, huh? Come on, I can pitch better than Alan. Oh, yeah, sure you can. Or shortstop. Come on, let me play shortstop. Something tough. You need a good player. Look, Goof, you're going to be in right field, and all we want you to do is stand there real quiet. You get it? Right field. Nobody ever hits a ball out there. That's the general idea. You're such a hot-shot ball player. Why don't you have a better glove? Real professional, I mean. This is the best there is. Just like the big leaguers use. Well, this glove's played a lot of ball. You got some objections to it? Well, if you can't do any better, it's a glove, I guess. No, sirree, you can't say it isn't a glove. Get lost, will you? What do you raise these rats for, anyway? They're hamsters, and you know it. Well, they look like rats to me. For your information, they'll be used for medical research. Medi-who? Oh, you wouldn't understand. You mean they operate on them? They test new drugs and vaccines on them. It's very important. Oh. Here, Rat. Come here, Rat. Don't do that. It'll make them nervous. A nervous rat? And you make me nervous, too. Ooh! A nervous rat? 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? Rats! 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 Keep it up, Goof. Maybe you'll use up all your stupidity before the game. Are you kidding? I got a stockpile. Well, that's Goof. Let's get ready for the game. Yeah. One good hit and we've had it. Time out,
Time?
Hey, Alan, come over here a minute. Lefty Johnson's up again, and he's really hitting them. They're all going to right field, and Goof hasn't caught one of them. No matter where I throw him, Lefty pokes him out into right field.
Alan, keep throwing him to the outside. Ted, move back about 10 feet toward right field. Help Henry out.
I'd like to help him right out of the park. If Goof drops one now, we've lost the ball game. Don't worry about Johnson. He can hit a mosquito. You can give him a fly swatter for a bat. 3 strikes, real easy. We got him beat. Hey, go! Move back. Way back, and if the ball comes to me, keep out of my way. Look at him showing off. Damn, Alan. Good hit, Dad.
Thanks. It's such an easy ball. One little fly and 4 runs. 4! It's impossible to use. One thing's for sure. If he ever plays on our team again, I'm knocked.
I'm so mad I don't know what to do.
He heard me say that I had it. He's gonna be the big fat hero. Might as well have forfeited.
Oh, that goof. Stupid, smart Alex, show up goof. Why do you suppose he acts like that? He must know what makes everybody hate him. He doesn't know anything.
Well, I know one thing. I'm through with him.
Hi, gang. Hey, move over, Chubby. Well, the team played some fine ball today. I'm proud of you. Oh, come on, perk up. It's only a game.
We know that, Mr. Claiborne.
It, looks like everybody's here but Henry. Did he go home?
I don't know where he went, but I'm glad he did.
No, don't be too rough on Henry. He just got flustered.
He was born flustered. Say, Mr. Claiborne, would you excuse me? I'm supposed to meet my dad.
Why, sure thing, Alan.
And I have to get to non-piano lessons.
Uh-huh. Oh, say, Alan, pass the word around to the rest of the fellas to, just forget about that last play, okay?
Sure thing.
Won't do any good, Mr. Claiborne. Everybody's just fed up with goof.
Well, he'll probably never say so, but, down inside, Henry feels worse about this than you do.
He doesn't have any feeling.
It's not that he can't play ball, Mr. Claiborne. It's the way he acts. Always punching somebody, making wise remarks, acting like the big shot.
Poor Henry. He just doesn't know what to do with himself. Kids, I know he's hard to get along with, but there aren't many people who are lucky enough to have a twin. And Henry has no friends, no interests.
And no sense.
So is it surprising that he tries to get attention, any kind of attention?
He tries to make us mad.
I think he would rather have you pick on him, even fight with him. Anything but ignore him.
But you just can't like somebody like that.
Well, I'm not asking you to like him. For a start, it's enough to just think about him.
We've tried to put up with Henry, Mr. Claiborne. Honest. We've tried every way we know how.
Well, maybe you've tried to tolerate him, but, have you ever really looked at him? Have you ever really tried to talk with him? I don't mean make fun of him or tease him, but just talk with him. Have you?
Well, but you don't know goof.
But the point is, whatever Henry does, however he behaves, he's not just an animal, a hamster or something. He's human, just like the rest of us.
Mr. Claiborne just doesn't understand. It's impossible to get along with Goof.
Get along with him? All I want to do with him is put him into outer space. Permanent orbit.
Goof is fooling around with the hamsters. Mr. Brown's cage. Mr. Brown is gone.
You let him out on purpose, didn't you?
Mr. Brown can't stay out all by himself. Something will happen to him, and it'll be all your fault. I didn't let him out. Honest. I just brought him a piece of lettuce.
Oh, yeah, well, how'd the door get open by itself?
It was like that when I came. Mr. Brown, come here, Mr. Brown. Come on, come on, come on, Mr. Brown. Come here, Mr. Brown. Here, Mr. Brown. It's me, Henry.
Go on home, Goof. You'll scare him away.
I won't scare him away. He'll know I'm his friend.
Oh, yeah, you're just great. You are.
Be quiet. He's coming to me. Here, Mr. Brown. It's me, Henry. I brought something for you. Oh, thank goodness he's all right. Let me hold him for a while. He's nice. I told you he'd come to me. Hey, he likes me. came to me. You must have forgotten to lock the door this morning. Well, I don't really remember fastening it. If he were mine, I sure wouldn't forget. Hey, do you think you could teach me how to raise hamsters? Would you show me? Would you? They take an awful lot of time, Goof. And brains. But he liked me. Didn't you see it? Well, he wasn't scared at all. No kidding. Where could I get a hamster?
Well, Dad got ours in Hill City.
If I saved up enough money, do you think he'd buy me a pair?
I don't know. He doesn't go there very often.
Well, I could raise them to settle laboratories like you do. If they discovered a vaccine with one of my hamsters, do you think they'd name it after me?
If they discovered a vaccine against goofiness, believe me, they'd be glad to name it after you.
A vaccine against goofiness? Boy, that's a good one. Hey, just call me Doc. Dr. Goof. Is there a doctor in the house? Coming, nurse. Hold for Dr. Goof. Coming, nurse. Hold for Dr. Goof. Still showing off. But for a minute there, he was almost human.
He thought Mr. Brown liked him. Oh, Mr. Brown liked that lettuce.
You know, he's sort of pitiful in a way. Funny he'd do a thing like that. Bring Mr. Brown the lettuce, I mean.
Yeah.
Ted, do you think we could teach him to raise hamsters?
Wouldn't be easy. And why should we?
I just have a feeling we ought to try. Maybe we could give him two for babies as a start.
What are you doing? Going a little soft in the head?
Maybe. But I was just thinking about what Mr. Claiborne said. That we hadn't really honestly tried. Who knows? Maybe we will discover a vaccine against goofiness. Hey, Ted! Ted? You know, it's too bad we lost that game. I'd have had that ball if you hadn't gotten in my way. You know, Henry might have caught that ball.
That has a trappings of a family film, the Christian Film Company. I need to do some more research on that. We'll look it up on WorldCat. In the meantime, thank you, Juliet, for the coffee. One way you can you can reward AV Geeks is with coffee. And there is a link. If I do that, I'm not looking at my screen, but yeah. You can go to ko-fi.com/avgeeks, or you can go to buymeacoffee.com/avgeeks. Let's see. Goof. The awful goof. Goof. Yeah, I don't... Interesting. Another way you can say that you like what we're doing is you can hit the thumbs up button or the like button, or you can tell other people about what we're doing, what we're showing films about goofs, and hoping that one day there will be a vaccine for goofism. There doesn't seem to be one. Unfortunately, the most recent COVID booster does not tend to take care of goofism. Taking vaccines helps reduce some of the symptoms of goofism, it seems like, in the public health realm, but goofism, I don't know. Henry, man, I just wanted to shake that guy. I am... It definitely raised my hackles. I knew many Henrys, and I'm hoping that at some point I was not a Henry. I'm sure I was Henry-esque. I had some goof tendencies. I still do have some goof tendencies where I get caught up in myself and like, ooh. Anyways, so love your goofs. Love the goofs in your life. It's hard. It's very difficult. They're the worst, especially the show-offy, clueless goofs. Ugh, hard. It's hard work, but you can do it. You can survive. We'll be back again tomorrow, Wednesday. Please rewind. Please take care of yourself. Love each other. Love the goofs. Love the smiley faces with eyelashes. We will be back tomorrow, same time, same channel. Have a good rest of your day. Take care.